making sure that how the things will work with respect to auditing. Here we are talking about three basic things, is it right? We are talking in terms of substantive procedures. Today is what date? Today is 24th, is it right? 24/10. Is it? What we are going to do is we will talk about basically three things, is it right? One, we are talking in terms of substantive procedures. Then we are talking in terms of audit sampling, is it right? Major things. And the third, we are talking in terms of work done by others. Okay? Just imagine, you have to visualize how the things will work, is it right? Fine. Is it? And we will make an estimates also. In between there will be accounting estimates. Accounting estimates is part of this procedures, and computer assisted auditing techniques is part of this. Is that we use something called as CAAT, CAT. Okay, computer aided audit techniques. Fine. It's how we are going to collect the evidence. That is the purpose of this lecture as such. Is that what is the importance of evidence? And it is the extension of 7. Okay, 7A. Last time we have done 7. This we are doing 7A. Another 7B is there. Okay. Now we are talking about the substance. One question will be there on this. Understand what? Very simple. I'm giving you the techniques. I will give you the shortcut how we have to memorize this. Okay. One is the substantive procedures. Again, in the substantive procedures, we are talking in terms of what? Analytical procedure. We are analyzing the thing. We will take into consideration something in terms of percentages. Is it right? Something we will make into consideration comparative analysis. Is that always we are moving to a prior year, and we are talking in terms of current year. Is it right? This we will take into consideration as what happens in the previous year and what happens in the current year. And definitely there will be, see, we are only making an estimates. Is it right? You will have a management estimate. We are estimating in terms of what? Estimating in terms of errors. Estimating in terms of material misstatements. Is it how much error will be there? Is it right? This is only estimate. This is only a part of the planning. Okay. And when we do a further analysis, we have done this. If you remember this, we are talking when we are talking in terms of audit risk. Is it right? We are talking in terms of audit risk. What we have done? One of the component of audit risk is deduction risk. Is it right? In deduction risk, we have done what we have done. We have divided the things. We have divided the one is sampling risk and another is non-sampling risk. From here onwards, in anything we are doing, we are is almost a revision has started for you. Okay, a revision has been started for you. Because what we have done is the concepts we have covered. From here onwards, it is only applications. Okay, it's okay. We will talk about the basic thing. What is the sampling risk and what is the non-sampling risk? Is that next? We have two things. Is that when you are talking about the sampling? Is that when we take into consideration the concept of sampling? Concept of sampling consists of what? Concept of sampling consists of a statistical one. Is it right? It is a statistical one, and it is another one is non-statistical one. They will not ask you in detail this much. Very simple. Is that why I am saying this? Mostly I have not seen these type of questions anyway. But they will ask you about the substantive procedures 100%. Okay, 100% they will ask 100 substantive procedures. They are talking in terms of analytical procedures, and they will talk about the estimates. Sampling, touch and go, not more than 3 to 4 marks. I am saying this, not more than that. Okay, so we have to be. Now what we are doing apart from that, what are the we are going to make sure that what is the statistical way of sampling, how we are doing the sampling. Is that what the statutory auditors will do? Statutory auditors will not go through each and every transaction. Is it right? They will select the sample. Is it? If there is sample, you don't have errors. Is it? They will continue it. Is it right? They will continue it. If they have the errors, is that if errors are high, what will happen? They will increase the sample size. Is it? If the errors are high, they will increase the sample size. This is the purpose why we are studying this. Is that we are talking in terms of how the results of statistical samples have to be considered in terms of calculations. And most importantly, this is little bit important. Okay, this is little bit important. What it says now, most of the cases, most of the instances, the concept of computers has came into picture, systems. Is it right? Then what happens? We are using a concept called as computer assisted audit techniques. Is it right? It is little bit important. I'm not saying more important, little bit important. And it is, see, the moment you will cover it, you will find it easy. Okay. Now in that computer assisted audit techniques, we have two things. One, we are talking about how we have to test the data, and what is the audit software. Whenever you test the data, you will test the, assume you will give a field. Okay, you will give a field and say that it should be how much. Assume you are going to say that it will be 1 minute. It will be how much? How many spaces? 1. Is that you will say that how many spaces? It is going to be 1. It is going to be 2. It is going to be 3. It is going to be 4, and it is 5. Okay, you will have 5 1. And you will have how many decimals? You will have 3 decimals. Is it right? Means assume you are talking about real or money. Okay, real means how much you can enter. You can enter maximum, if you take into consideration, you can enter how much? You can enter how much? 99,999.999 by the maximum amount you can enter this much. What is the test data? Is you give negative values. Fine. Whenever you want to test the software, give negative values. Whether it is accept or it will not accept. That concept in simple words called as a test data. Okay, and subsequently we talk about little bit about audit software. Is that, see, they will just the maximum they will test on test data, not more than 2 marks. Very simple. Okay, and audit software, I don't think so we have come across it. Is it? Now what happens? The auditors will rely on the work. Okay, the auditors will rely on the work of experts. Is it right? The auditors will rely on the word of some service organization. Means you are talking about the taxation. Assume what happens? Taxation, in order to do services in taxation, we don't need any certified course. Is it right? Everybody can do practice in taxation. Means they will rely on that. In some cases, they will rely on the work of the internal auditor. Whenever we are relying on the work of the internal auditor, what are the precautions we have to take? Okay, what are the big precautions the statutory auditor has to take? Discuss the extent to which the external auditors are able to, able to rely on what? Able to rely on the work of the experts. They are talking about experts, they are talking about the internal auditor, and sometimes they will talking about what? Service organization. Is it? Little bit, this is because see, we keep it in mind. Wherever we are going to come across something with respect to ISA, is it anything related? Assume ISA 200, IS 315, is it right? IS 330, whenever we are talking in terms of IAS, they will test you on these standards. Understand? That is the reason. Wherever in whichever slide, whichever concept you will come across ISA, make it a point, focus on that. Now, from now onwards, I will give you the tips also, okay, where we have to be very focused. We have to work smart, okay, that's very important. To what extent we can rely on the work of the or others with respect to audit reports. Fine. Now, what is the procedure? How we are going to make sure that, how we are going to test the transactions? Is it right? When you are talking about what is the procedure and the sampling techniques, is it right? We'll say that first we will take into consideration sampling. Subsequent slides we will go in detail. The second part is we are talking in terms of what? We are talking in terms of computer assisted audit techniques. Is it right? In this you have two things. Is it? You have audit software and you have the test data. Is it? You have the test data. The third one is using the work of the others. When you say using the work of, means somebody, you are not specialist. Is it right? You are talking about telecommunication industry. You are not specialist in telecommunication. What you will do? Definitely you will pull somebody who are in telecommunication expert, and definitely you will take the independent review. Okay, you will do an independent review. That is going to be called as the using the work of others. In terms of 3A is experts, 3B is service organization, and 3C is the internal audit. Okay, apart from that you will have two things. What we are talking about, the estimates. Is that point number 4? How we are going to make estimates? Estimates is management estimates, point estimates. Is that what is the range of the errors will be there, range of transactions we have to check. Is it right? We have to verify. And last but not the least, we are talking about auditing small entities as such. Is that? These are the 5 basic concepts we are going to work on. This is a little bit lengthy chapter, but it makes some sense with respect to examination. Fine. Same process is there. You have now you will understand more clearly what we did over a previous point of time. We will plan the audit, understand the entity, assess the risk, and select the procedures. We will have controls, test of controls. If it is satisfactory, we will do restricted procedures. If it is deficiencies is there, we are doing full substantive procedure. Subsequently, we are going to land up with respect to the report. Is that report we will do after 2 weeks. Okay. Now, what is the substantive procedure? See, substantive procedure will be there, one question in the examination for 8 to 10 marks. Is it 8 to 10 marks? It may be for payables, it may be for receivables, it may be for cash, it may be for non-current assets, it may be for inventory. Is it right? One question will be there also, and it's, if you know the technique, it's very easy to approach it. What is the substantive procedure? We want to know. We see there is one task. What we'll do? We will explore. We'll explore different options. Is it right? We'll explore different options only to make sure that how best we can have material misstatements. Is that how best we are going to get some? See, the task of the auditor is, you will not never say yes. The task of the auditor is you have to identify what are the loopholes. That's very important. Is it right? That is what the substantive procedures are audited. You memorize this, okay? Because they will ask you for 1 mark, 2 marks, one for substantive procedures and one for test of details. Is it test of controls, like that? Is a substantive procedure, the audit test to obtain what? Evidence. They want to detect material misstatement. The purpose is what? To detect the material misstatement. there are two types of substantive procedures. One substantive procedure is the test of details, and the second substantive procedure is analytical procedure. Is it analytical procedure? You focus there. See, it is like this. This is the common. Common points. You can fix these points as per the requirement. Is it right? You can fix the points as per the requirement. Wherever you need now, you can put the things into consideration. Fine. Is it? Where is possible, you can put it into consideration. Now, is it? Now, what is the model? What we are going to do in substantive procedures? You have to remember. I can't say, but you are going to memorize. It is up to you. This you have to do. Understand what? This, the first and foremost is you have to agree the opening balances with previous years. Is that because last year closing balance will be this year opening balance. This is the first step to verify the things. Is it? First step is agree opening balances with previous year working papers. Is that first thing? Next. Second one, what? Review general ledger for unusual records. Unusual records in terms of what? In terms of amounts. Unusual records in terms of new customers, clients. Is it right? Suppliers. Is it right? Suppliers, or in terms of purchasers. Is it right? You are, is it, who are going to sell, from whom we are purchasing. Is it right? Next, unusual items with respect to inventory. Is that it applies? It's, see, very simple. It is like a Panadol. Okay, this is like a Panadol. Keep it in mind. I am telling you very clearly. You can put these conditions anywhere. The moment you see substantive procedures, you can just apply these rules. Is it right? But if it is inventory, relate to inventory. If it is payables, relate to payables. Is it right? The moment we will do the things, questions and concepts, you will have more clarity on that. We will see. Agree client schedules from accounting records to ensure completeness. Is that what we are doing? We are going to verify. Is it right? We are verifying the client records, is it right, with our own records. If there is any mistakes, we can any material misstatements, we will be in a position to detect. Okay. First, what you are doing? Start with basics. Mathematical accuracy will also come somewhere. Okay. Mathematical accuracy. Start with opening balances with the last year balances. Second, you verify whether any differences are there in the general ledger. Third, you will say that yes, client schedules with our own records. Is it right? It applies for payables. Is it right? It applies for receivables. Is it right? It applies for the bank statements also. Is it right? It applies for so many cases. Is it right? It applies for payables, for receivables, for bank statement also. We will cover this. Is it right? Next. Second thing is what? Carry analytical review. Is it right? What we are going to say, what happened prior year? Is it right? What happened prior year and what is happening in the current year? It gives you sense if there is any, you are analyzing. Is it right? Gross profit margin. What is the gross profit margin last year? What is the gross profit margin this year? Is that if gross profit margin is 20%, definitely this year will be almost 20 plus or minus. But this will year not be 10%. Is it? This will not be 40%. Is it? Next. Apart from that, if things are going worse, keep it in mind. You are adding one procedure again and again. You will test transactions in detail. If things are going worse, is it? If material misstatements, is it? I am writing if material misstatements or deficiencies, is it? Are increasing, is it? Are increasing. What is the next option? You will go in detail. You will go in detail in transactions. You will test balances in detail. Means what you will do? You will make it a point that you will do sub-ledger accounts. Is it? You will tally sub-ledger accounts. You will tally individual sub-ledger accounts are nothing but you will make it a point of verifying what? Individual party accounts. You want to know where the exact mistakes is lying, is right? Review presentation and disclosures in the accounts. This is how many points are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Is it? Some more will come. 11 or 12 points are there. Is it right? 11 points, not 12, 11, exactly 11 points. 11 points. Last, you will have mathematical accuracy is there. You will have the reconciliation is there. Is it right? You have 7, 8, 9 and another 2 are there. Okay. So these are the things. You make it a point. I am putting it an asterisk mark here. Is it? This is for what? This is for the substantive procedures. What are the model? Okay, the model. What? How we are going to work it? Is it? The exam in F8 exam in almost invariably they are saying you have a question on substantive audit procedures. A typical requirement from the paper is that describe substantive procedures you will perform to obtain sufficient appropriateness for what? Trade receivables. Is that? If you want to make it things, you have to. Apart from that, another thing where what they will ask most importantly, they will ask you to differentiate. Is that? Differentiate between substantive audit test and test of controls. Okay. Test of controls is we are testing the controls. Substantive procedure means we are going in detail. Another issue which is very important is you are talking in terms of assertions. You are testing. Is right? The examiner will test you to understand to the assertions and how different the audit tests are used. Is it right? Means you are making a very clear. 3 things are very, very specific. One, we are talking in terms of substantive procedures. One, we are talking about the test of controls. And one, we are talking about what are the financial statement assertions. Is it right? Now, what it says, you are an audit manager. Is it? A junior, and you have been assigned to is it? You have been assigned to field work on the non-current assets. Is it right? With respect to the client financial position. What are the suitable substantive procedures? Means you have to make sure that how we are going to approach non-current assets. Is it? How we are going to approach non-current assets as such. When you approach the non-current, what we have to take into consideration? The same process. Opening balances, pre-year. Okay, we are talking about prior year. We are talking about mathematical accuracy. We will talk about depreciation also because every year, last year depreciation with this year current year depreciation. Is that right? Current year depreciation. Is that you have to visualize the moment you are talking in terms of what, how it is going to be, how it is going to be worked out. If last year current year depreciation is more, it means what? There is some additions. Is it? If current year depreciation is more, there is a. If current year depreciation is less, maybe there are some disposals. Is it? Likewise, you are analyzing. Is it? Likewise, you are analyzing what happened in the current year and what happened with the previous. Is it? You have to make sure that yes, these are the basic core concepts related to non-current assets as such. Is it okay? Where are others? Fatima, Mehta and Aisha. Fine. Now, what we are doing for the non-current asset is that, see, they will give you so many things. Is it that we are talking about what, how many marks they have allocated? They have allocated how many marks? No, no marks are there. Is it right? There is no mark. This is for their trade receivables. Is it right? This is for the trade. No marks. Fine, no problem. See what you are doing. Is it right? What is, see, they are dividing the things. What is the question they are asking? Can you think of a suitable substantive procedures which include a mixture? Is it right? A mixture of test of details. Is it test of details and a substantive analytical procedures. Whenever you will find like this, is it? The rule says that you have to divide into a two columnary column. Is it? You have to divide into two columns. Is it right? Now, what we have to do? What is the test of details and then substantive procedures? Is it? Test of details, we are only getting the information. Is it right? Substantial procedures, we are analyzing the information. Got my point? That is the difference we are doing. Test of details is we are just getting the information. Is it right? Selecting a sample of assets from the asset register whenever we will talk about the non-current assets. Is that whenever we talk about the non-current assets, we always talk about what we always talk about register. This is the first source of document. Is that this is the first source of document. See what happens whenever you are purchasing the asset. The moment asset arrives at your place, what you will do? You will record the asset in the asset register before entering in the financial general entry. Okay? Before you enter, first you will record. That is the source of document. Is it right? That is the source of document. That's why we are saying. That is why we are saying that we have to work it on with the asset register as such. Is it right? Next. Is it? We have to work on the asset. Now, what happens when we are talking about what is a substantive procedure? Substantive procedure is in detail. Performing a proof of total. Is a test. Proof of total. Is that when we say it is a proof of total, what we are doing? We are talking in terms of mathematical accuracy only. Is that we are talking in terms of what? Mathematical accuracy only. That is the test of details. Is it right? We are not going to go beyond that. Now, is it? On the depreciation charge for the year to confirm the accuracy and what you are doing in terms of test of substantive procedure, we will do the totals. Is it right? Whether the totals are right or wrong. Is it right? To know what? To know the accuracy. Is it? What is the test of details? Test of details is we will take the asset register and we will physically inspect the asset. That's all. Is it right? Means that asset is existing or not. Whereas substantive procedures, we do calculations. Fine. This is the first one. The second one, what it says. Selecting a sample of physically inspected, we have inspected, is it right? The assets and tracing back to the non-current. Means what happens in the first case, getting my point? In the first case, what we have done, we are doing from non-current asset register, is it right, to physical. Is it right? To physical. Now we will select another sample. Okay. Is it right? See, we will select another sample. And is that we will say what is the physical and we will go backwards. Is it right? We will see what is there in the register. Got open? See, this is what we say. Is it right? One sample will take from register to the physical, and second sample will take selecting a sample from physical to register. Comparing if there are any additions. Is it in that year? We are what? That's what any additions are there prior year, and investigations. What is the reason for any change? Big differences. If there is any, assume if there is any last year it is going to be 20,000. Okay. This year it is current year it is going to be how much? Current year it is going to be 29,000. Definitely, what happened? There is a increase in the assets. The increase in the assets is one of the reasons is it is a additions. Fine. That is what we are doing. Taking a sample of additions. The moment you say additions, taking a sample of additions in the year and tracing to what we are taking the addition and we are working out with what? With the purchase invoice. Details. Is a test of details says that we take the sample of additions and we go to the addition and we go to the purchase invoice. Whereas substantive procedure says that we have the additions. Is it that we have added new assets? Definitely when you had added new assets, the depreciation will increase. Is it? The depreciation will increase. Automatically what will happen? Is it that automatically what will happen? If there are any additions, is that if there are any additions, definitely what will happen? The depreciation amount will be higher. We make a comparison with the previous, and we also see maybe there is another option. Is it right? There is another option. What it says, they say that sometimes what will happen, you will have straight line method or you will have return down value method. Maybe there is a change in method. Is it right? There will be what? There will be a change in method. Because of change in method, the value of depreciation may also have some variation. Is it? You want to know as an auditor the variation is happening because of additions or the variation is happening because of change in method. Percentages is there. Is it right? You will say that yes, there will be change in percentage. Is it right? This is what the substantive procedures talk. What the test of details say, reconciling. Is it reconciling the non-current asset register with the general ledger? I don't know what is there. It is something is there here. Fine. Okay. Is it clear? This is what the test of details and substantive. Test of details we will verify physical register to physical, physical to register. We will be taking a sample of additions and we will verify with the purchase orders and we will reconcile the non-current. Okay, fine. Whereas substantive procedures is we will recalculate, is that we will retotal it, is that we retotal the depreciation. We will make it a point that how much is the additions are there and why it is what is the reasons for that, and subsequently we are talking in terms of what we are talking in terms of what is the reason of change in the values for the depreciation. Got my point? This is the, you see, 2, 3, 4 times you write down this. I will ask these questions in the next quiz. Understand what? I will ask whenever we are going to have on this topic, questions will be there on this. Okay. Now, the first one. Okay. What is the accounting estimates? We now go back to the estimates. You need to understand what are the key terms. There are various things. We are estimating. We are estimating in terms of simple accounting estimates. We are estimating in terms of uncertainty. We are estimating from the management perspective, and we are talking in terms of auditor's perspective. Is that we are talking in terms of auditors. The what it says, one of the ISA is that ISA means, immediately keep it in mind. See, they will test only on this. The moment they will ask you a question on ISA, you have to mention that ISA 540, auditing accounting estimates, including fair value estimates and related disclosure. Is it? And related disclosure. Is it? Now, what is it? See, this will be there somewhere in MCQ. Maximum, I am saying this, is it right? Maximum. By the time we will revise the question paper, you will have more clarity which type of question they will ask. It is the approximation of monetary item in the absence of precise measurement. We are estimating, is it right? We are estimating the sales, is it right? We are estimating the depreciation amount, is it right? We are estimating what? We are estimating the provisions, is it right? Provision for bad debts, is it right? We are estimating as simple as that, is it right? A monetary amount in terms of what? When we say it is a monetary amount in terms of currency. It is susceptibility of the accounting estimates, related disclosures. What happens? There is an inherent lack of precision. See, we are talking about estimates. Estimates will be uncertain, is it right? We are talking, see, estimates is nothing but a budget, is it right? Budgets will never be accurate. Either it will be budgeted, estimates will always, is it right? Estimates will always vary with actuals. There are two things, is that when see what this is the part of the planning. When you are talking about the planning, you will say that yes, management estimates what is the sales, management estimates what is the provisions, management estimate what is the amount of depreciation, is it right? We are talking about management estimates is selected by the management on the financial statement. This is the estimates by the management, whereas this is the estimates of the auditor. Auditor range is the amount or range of amounts, is right, derived from the evidence to use evaluating the, means what will happen? You are comparing, is it right? You are comparing the management estimates, is it right? In the end you will do, is it right? You are comparing with what? You are comparing with auditor's estimate. Is that? This is what we are talking in terms of the different types of estimates in terms of various amounts while making an audit planning and while evaluating the audit evidence as such. Is it right? What are the estimates? Now you have the things I told you: sales estimates, provisions estimates, warranty estimates, Is that what is the contract estimate, depreciation estimate? These are the various examples. Is that allowances for doubtful debts? Is it right? What happens? You will have the sales, you have the receivables. Is it right? You will have the receivables. From the receivables, you will have what? You will have provision for doubtful debts. Is it right? Provision for bad debts. Is it? Provision for bad debts. Then what will happen? You will have some cash. Is it? Then you will have some cash. If you take into consideration this provision, is it right? If you take into consideration this provision is called as a estimate. Likewise, you will say that what is the estimate for inventory obsolescence? Is it right? It means you will have packing date. Is it right? You will have packing date and you have expiry date. Is it right? By the time you are having an expiry date, definitely you have to dispose it off, replace it off. You cannot put it on the shelf. Okay, there is a rule that yes, if the expiry date is only 1 day or 2 days, definitely you have to remove that from the shelf. They will say that expiry date is 24th. Okay, but till yesterday they can't keep. They have to keep the margin. Okay, that is, there are some verification. We are talking in terms of what? We are talking about any warranties are there. We are estimating that what is the warranty claims, obligations. Is it right? We are talking about depreciation method and what is the life of the asset. That is the pure estimation. Outcome of the long-term contracts, whether it will be continued or it will not be continued. Assume the contract is for 10 years. Is it? 10 years is a very long time. Is it right? 10 years. In between there will be a break of contract. Something will happen. Is it right? Cost arising from litigation settlements and judgments. Whenever you have the legal cases. Is it right? Legal cases may be won, legal cases may be lost. In that case, if legal cases are going to be lost, definitely we have to pay the compensation for the legal cases. And provision against carrying the amount of an investment where there is an uncertainty regarding the recoverability. Is that when you are talking about, sometimes it happens, is that you are making investment in the share market. Is it right? When you make investment in the share market, sometimes you will get positive results, sometimes you will get negative results. Fine? This is what we are talking in terms of examples. Is that these are the examples of accounting estimates. Nature and reliability of estimate affect degree of uncertainty. Is a degree of uncertainty. Affects risk of material statement. Definitely, when you are talking on terms of the nature and reliability of the information, is it right? If there is a if you can put it like this, is that if you are going to have more effective controls, is it right? Effective controls, definitely what will happen? The estimates will also be more accurate. Is it right? The more it affects the uncertainty, it affects the risk also. Fine. This is it. What we have done. Two things we have done. We are talking in terms of substantive procedures. We have covered something related to the accounting estimates. Is it? The third part is it? What is how we are talking when we take into consideration the accounting estimates? What is the procedures we will follow? By the time you complete this, I don't think so you will have any doubt in your mind. Is it right? That much assurance I can give. Is it right? First, what you see, very simple. You are an auditor. Okay, you will go to the client place. When you are an auditor and you are going to the client place, what you will do? They have done some estimates. Is it right? You will make it a point that things should be in very constructive way. Okay. First and foremost, you will inquire the management about their alternative assumptions. On what basis, is it right? On what basis as the estimates have done? Is that on what basis of assumptions estimates has been done? You will ask with the management. That is the first point of interaction. Understand? That is the first point of interaction. This is the audit procedure. What is the procedure you will follow? Assessment whether assumptions are reasonable. Is that assumptions are reasonable? Yes, assumptions are fine. It's reasonable, moderate. Reasonable means justifiable. Okay? Assumptions are what? Assumptions are justifiable. Fine. Evaluate whether the account is either reasonable or misstated. Again, you are going, see, procedure is nothing but you are drilling down the thing. Is it right? You will evaluate that, yes, estimates is either means it is reasonable or it is maybe it is overestimated. Okay? It is overestimated. Is it right? Or maybe you are not, assumptions are unjustifiable. Is it right? Assumptions are unjustifiable. Definitely you will come to a conclusion that yes, these are reasonable, fine, this is not reasonable. Is that what you will do? Obtain sufficient appropriate evidence. Is it? You will ask for what? You will ask for a supporting evidence. Is it? You will ask for a supporting evidence. Is it? To make sure that yes, we have the whatever the disclosures are done, our disclosures are correct. Okay? Sufficient appropriate evidence to whether the disclosures are correct. Fifth one, see the thing, this is what we say. You give if accounting estimates rise to significant risk. Is that fine? It's not that. What happens? Assume. Is it right? What happens? Think like there is a misstatement. Is it right? There is a misstatement, and or the assumptions are not right. Okay, the assumptions are not right. Assumptions are very, very volatile. Okay, or is it right? It's not reasonable. Definitely, what will happen? This will lead to what? This will lead to risk will increase. Is it? Risk will increase. See, you are, see, as simple as that. If I don't tell, you will not understand. It is not my understanding. It is the concept of auditing. Is it right? It is the concept of when you are cooking the rice, you will not see the each and every one. You will see only a sample. Is it right? You will see only a sample, one or two. When the rice is cooked, is it right? Automatically you can understand. Yes, is there any suspicion is there or not? Is it right? That is the reason. One or two samples, you will come to a judgment that yes, things are right or things are not right. Then what happens once you are doing this? You will talk about review judgments. Is it right? Decisions of the management in terms of accounting estimates. What will do? Is there any reviews are there? That's what it says. Is that any reviews are there? Means second time review. See, everything is documented. There is no doubt on that. Every other thing will be documented. If there is any review, you will become suspicious. Why there was a review? Is it right? What are the indications and what is the management bias? Got my point? If there is any reviews are there, yes, this report is reviewed second time. Definitely, you will in your mind it will click. Unless until this something is not wrong, nobody will review it. Definitely, that is that. In the last, is it the last one is, see, the last one is you have to get the written representation from the management. The first one is the inquiry. Is it right? The last one is the written representation. Is it right? This is where the procedure will work. You start with an inquiry, you end with a written representation. This is the procedures, audit procedures whenever you think about estimates. Is it? Describe the audit procedures required in respect of accounting estimates. Is that the same thing they have mentioned? Is that the same thing they have mentioned? They are talking about what? You have to inquire. Is it right? See, you just make it sure. See, when I'm telling you this, now you have an idea, you have to customize the answer. That's all. You don't need to memorize it. Is it right? You don't need to memorize. You have to understand first, relate it to it, and customize as per the requirement. What they say, you have to, whenever we want to have an estimate, you will inquire with the management how estimates has been made. What are the assumptions on which it is based? And second one, you will say that whether the assumptions are reasonable. Is that whether the assumptions made by the management to arrive at the estimates are reasonable. Don't think that you have to write, but you have to write. Why I noticed one theoretical questions you have to write. It is not 1 or 2 sentences questions. Keep it in mind. Theoretical questions you have to write. That's very important. I have gone through your test and observed these factors. Is it right? Now, that's what it says. Means whenever you are making the assumptions, you should assess that the assumptions are reasonable and coming to an accounting estimates. Write in your own simple words, but you have to write. Third one, what it says, you have to review any drafts are there to ensure that disclosures. Is it right? Whether the estimates are correct or not. Means, see what when you are talking about the disclosure notes, is it a draft disclosure? It is nothing but what? It is nothing but working papers. It is nothing but working papers. You have to know working papers. Yes. When you have the working papers, definitely you will come across. Because in working papers, you are going to write down in detail what we have done, what we have not done. Is it right? Develop a possible estimate. Possible estimate is otherwise called as a point estimate. Now you can say that. Is it? They will say that yes, the sales, is it right? The sales will be what? The sales will be 30,000 to 60,000. Is it? The sales will, now you want more accurate. Is it right? You don't want a different. What you will do? You will go for a point estimate. Is it? You will go for a point estimate. In point estimate, you will come across that yes, the reasonable thing is how much? The reasonable thing is 42,000. Is it? Means you will have one side you will have a management estimate, one side you will have the auditor's estimate. Is it right? Now, in between, when you are making your estimates will be there, management estimates is there, but in the end, what we have to, both should come to an agreement, to an understanding. I am not saying to an understanding. That understanding is called as what? It is called as a point estimate. It is called as a point estimate. And next, you have we have done. Is there any reviews are there? Is it right? If any reviews are there, definitely what we have to do, we have to make sure that what is the reason for reviews. Is it? Review the judgments and decisions made by the management in the accounting estimates to understand. Is it right? To understand the indicators with respect to management bias. Is it? See, we are reviewing. See, there is no doubt that whatever you are doing, we are making sure that the things are right. Is it right? Maybe sometimes it will go in either way. Last but not the least, what it says that you have to obtain written representation from the management whether the assumptions are reasonable. I'm telling you in a simple words. Obtain written representation from the management. Is it right? Obtain written representation from the management to make sure that the assumptions made for estimates is reasonable. Is it? They gave you the things. First, whenever you are revising it, you revise how you can write in your own words. Understand point? Don't pressurize yourself and say that yes, I have to write in that word only. I want to see a lot of improvement in your theoretical questions. Okay? You take the thing. You are say very simple. Obtain written representation from the management to make sure that the assumptions made are reasonable. That's all. We don't want more than that. Is it right? This is where we are talking in terms of the estimates. Is it substantive procedures? Is that substantive procedures? We have explained the substantive procedures and we have done one small example. Okay, estimates. We have understood the concept. We have done a small example. Is it right? Now, what is the sampling? Which second point? Can you explain the second point of TOD? What is TOD? What is TOD? Test of detail. This one, na? Yes. Is it? See that. What we are doing? See. Test of detail. Is it? Two approaches are there. First, what you will do in the first case, see, you want to make sure that from beginning to end, process is right. From end to beginning, process is right. Okay. First, what you will do, you will take the register. Is it right? You will take the register and you will verify with what? You will inspect with what? You will inspect with the physical assets. Fine, you will answer. It is nothing but forward. Okay, it is nothing but you are talking in terms of what? In terms of forward. Forward approach. What is the second one? Second one talks about what? Backward approach. Is it right? Second one talks about what? It talks about the backward approach. We will take into consideration physical assets. Is it right? We will take into consideration the physical assets. Is it? Physical inspected. Is it? Now, and tracing back to the register. Is it right? We are going? We are going backwards. Is it right? We are going backwards to the register. Means we are not having only one approach. We are having both the approaches. One side we are starting from the beginning and going till the end. And second thing we are starting from the end. Physical asset. Yes, this is laptop is there. I will say this is the smartphone. Okay, this is the smartphone. Now I will ask whether you have registered this smartphone in the register or not. Gone over it? What I will ask you? I will ask you whether this asset is there in the register or not. That is the test of detail. The first one is I will take the register and I will check the physical asset. The second one is I will take the physical asset and I will verify it with register. Fine? Good. Sampling, okay, maximum. See, I'm telling you very clearly, maximum rare of the rare cases, but don't say that. See, a maximum. Yeah, maximum they will give not more than 3 marks. I have not seen it, very rarely, but everything is important. Okay, you cannot miss anything. Is it what? See, I will just you put it in a very rough diagram. Is it right? These are all transactions. Is it right? These are all transactions of the These assume that these are all financial statement transactions. Is it right? If you are taking all the transactions, is it right? All the transactions, then this is going to be called as a population. Now, what you will do, you will not take all the transactions, you will take a portion of transactions. In simple terms, this is called as a sample. Now, how you are selecting a sample? It all depends on you. Okay, it all depends on you. A sampling is the application of procedures to less than 100% of items. Within what they say it is nothing but a population. It is nothing but the population. The entire thing is population. Of audit such that all sample units have an equal chance of selection. Is it? They will say equal chance. Or you will say that yes, this is the population, or I am putting an or. You will say that from this you will select any 100. Okay. Population, assume that population is how many transactions? Population is 10,000 transactions. Is it? You will say 100. Is it right? Means almost you have taken 1%. Is it right? You have taken 1%. This is what that. This will enable the auditor to obtain and evaluate the. Why we are taking the sample? We are taking the sample only to make sure that we are going to evaluate the evidence. Is it right? With a selected in order to provide auditor a reasonable basis. We should not have any bias. Is it right? Audit sampling can be used either statistical or non-statistical. I thought of removing this slide, but I said that I should not do that. Okay? I should not do that. Even it is there. We will say, why do auditors need to use audit sampling? Imagine you are an auditor responsible for the work. Is it right? Year end. You are talking about year end receivables. Is that the balance is the largest balance of the statement? Is it right? Your client. There you will, what you will do? You will make it sure that these are the receivables. Is it right? When you have the receivables, what is the issue with receivables? You issue with receivables are you will have provision for doubtful debts. Is it right? Provision for doubtful debts. Now you will select the receivables. Is it right? You will have A customer, B customer, C customer, D customer. Is it right? You will select one customer who is having the highest receivables. Is it right? And you will see how much is the provision for bad debts. Is it? Likewise, you have the approach. Sometimes you will do randomly, sometimes you will do intentionally. Is that? Sometimes you will say you randomly you say that whichever is highest I will take that one. Is that? Whichever is highest I will take that one. Sometimes you will say that whichever is lowest I will take that one. It is all about the judgment. Okay. You are one of the persons in total team of 4. It just would not be practical in terms of time and cost to audit every single balance. It is not of all the total receivables. After auditing receivables, you have to audit working on, means you have lot of things. It's not like that you are talking only about receivables or only one customer or one client. Is it right? That is the reason why the auditors will take the help of sampling. Is that? Why they take the help of sampling? They have different tasks. They have to do the different tasks within the time frame. Is it? So what are the non-sampling methods? You are testing 100% of the population. This can be used, the population consists of only, if you are only 5 items, is it right? If you are saying only 10 items, 10 transactions, then in that case, what can do? We can do 100% of population. Is it right? That's very, very rare case. How you will test? Is it right? How you will test? How you will take the sample? What is the technique of taking the sample? Testing with a certain characteristics. You will focus on high value. Who are the highest brackets? Is it right? This is the natural psychological way of selection. You will say all amounts with a certain amount. You will say that all people who are with 500 reals bills. You have that option. Is that you can have more options. They only listed something. Okay. Items to obtain some information. Is that you want that people who are having LLCs, is it right? People who are having LLCs, you will focus only on that. Okay? Obtain information. Items, in some cases, you will take the sample to test the procedures. Is it right? To test the procedures. This is the classification between the purpose of doing the sampling, and there is a non-sampling methods. Non-sampling methods is not that much reliable. Is it right? Non-sampling methods is little bit unreliable. We will talk about sampling in the next few slides. Okay? Yeah. What is the sampling risk and what is the non-sampling risk? Is it right? See, very simple. Again, I am putting the things. Is it? This is all the population, all the transactions. Is it right? Possibility that auditor's conclusion based on a certain sample of certain size may be different from the conclusion. Is that what is the rule says? You are talking in terms of high value items. Is it right? When you take high value items, you ignore medium or small value items. That is the sample risk. Is it right? You will select with a certain amount. Is it? You will select with a certain amount. You will say that I am selecting only we are selecting only with 500. Then you are ignoring other values. It is a sampling risk. It is a sampling risk. That is the reason. Means when you select one particular criteria, is it right? When selecting one particular criteria, okay, one particular criteria, is it right? Ignoring others criteria by ignoring others is called a sampling risk. Is it right? Is called a sampling risk. What is the sampling risk? Auditors from fact that cause auditor to reach erroneous conclusion for any reason not related to the size of sample. You are not concerned about anything. Non-sampling risk is a non-risk conclusion. You are coming to a conclusion by yourself without going to any process as such. The use of audit procedures, misinterpretation of audit evidence, and failure to recognize misstatements means non-sampling risk is without going in. See, I will write without analyzing further. Is that right? Without analyzing further, and most importantly, ignoring the risk. Is it? We have done this. Is it? What we have done? What we have done? We have done with respect to what? Audit risk. Is it right? Again, I am writing this. Is it? What is the inherent risk? You have control risk. You have detection risk. In the detection risk, you will have sampling risk, and you have a non-sampling risk. Is it right? That is what it says. Now you understand why auditors will take sample and what is the difference between a sampling risk and non-sampling risk. There are two type methods of sampling. Okay, the one is statistical sampling. The second one is non-statistical sampling. Again, you cannot say this is good or that is good. Both will have its own features. Okay, both have their own features as such. Here they say that statistical method is more reliable. Is that statistical method is more reliable? We'll cover this. Is that next 1 or 2 slides? It is there. Use mathematical numbers to choose a sample free from bias. Is that means when we talk about statistical reliable, this is a part of random sampling methods. Is that random sampling? Fine. Is it you when you are doing the things, you will have the population. Is it right? You have the population. Assume you have non-current assets. You have sales. Is it right? You have sales. You have payables. Is it right? You have payables and you have inventory. Okay. Now what you will do, if it is a non-statistical method, you will take only one. Is that only one? You will say, no, is that selecting a sample of evaluating the results. If you take only one, is it? If you take only one, then it is going to be a non-statistical sampling. Now, what is statistical sampling? Is it assume you want to take 20 samples. What you will do? You will put 5 in non-current assets, 5 transactions of sales, 5 transactions of payables, and 5 transactions of inventory. If this we are using, this is called as a probability theory. Is it? What you are doing? Here you 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 5, and 1 by 5. Is there chance of getting 1 out of 5? Is it right? Now, how many are there? 20 are there. Is it right? What is the chance of selecting? 1 by 20 each time. Is it right? Each time. This is where we are talking in terms of statistical sampling and non-statistical sampling. If each item in the population does not have a equal chance being selected, then it is going to be called as a non-statistical sample. Means what happens? See, is it right? When you do the things, that's what it says. You are doing the things. What you are doing? You are making sure that in every segment, how many transactions we are choosing? We are choosing 5 transactions. Or is it right? Or we don't need this. Or is it right? You have the same concept. Is it right? You have the same 4 different boxes. You will have NCA. You will have sales. Is it right? You will have payables. Is it right? You have payables and you will have inventory. Now, what is the non-statistical sample? Non-statistical sample, that we have to take how many samples? 20. We will take 20 from any one. Is it right? From any one. If we are taking from one specific one, ignoring others, it is called as a non-statistical sampling method. Here the error element, is it right? Here what happens? The error element will be high. Okay. There are now, if you take what is the statistical methods, is that here they have mentioned, is it right? They have mentioned both the things. Here they have mentioned the statistical methods, is it right? Which one is statistical and which one is non-statistical? Is that which one is statistical and which one is non-statistical? Is it random sampling? Is that you are talking about random sampling? I will put this. Is it right? I will put this, and I will put an arrow for this. Is it right? You want how many? You want 20. Is it right? You want 20 samples. What you will do? If in every case you will take 5 each. Is it right? You will take 5 each randomly. Any 5 transactions. Is it right? This is called as systematically. Involves selecting a sample constant intervals. Now, assume how many are there? Assume here you have 1,000 transactions. Okay, 1,000 transactions. Now you will have the sequential voucher. Is that sequential invoices? Is that sequential invoices? Why invoice will be sequential? Is it right? Now, what is the concept of a systematic sample? Systematic sample say that I will take 1 to 15, then no sample. I will focus on what? This is my sample. Then second stage, okay? Listen carefully. Second stage, I will take 50 to 100. Again, what is the sample I will take? I will take the sample from 50 to 65, 15 samples. Again, 1 to 100 to 150. What I will do? I will take 100 to 115. This is my sample. This is otherwise called as a block systematic sample. Is that when using systematic sample, auditors must ensure that the population is not structured in such a manner that the intervals correspondent with the what they are saying, it should have a some specific pattern. Here we have the pattern 1 to 15, 150 to 65, 100 to 115, 115 to 165. The pattern is there. Is it right? This is called as a systematic sampling. Haphazard sampling, non-statistical, left, right, center. Don't worry about who is there, who is not there. Is it right? Left side, maybe alternative to random sample. It has been satisfied the representative of the entire population. Fine. What you are doing, haphazard sample. Is that again you are talking about this. You will take any 5, any 6, any 3. Is it right? 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 6, 14. You will take any 6. It is the extension, is it right? It is a alternative to random sampling. Fine. This is what it says. This method requires care to guard any against any making any selection. You are taking 6 here. You are taking 6 here. Is it right? We should not have any bias. Randomly you have picking. The only objective is we have to pick how many? We have to pick 20 samples. As an auditor, when you go to the client place, you will make it a point that I am going to test 20 invoices. Is it right? I am going to test 20 invoices. That is a simple haphazard. Haphazard means there is no no specific criteria, but the end result has to be fulfilled. You have a block sample, maybe used to check whether certain items are particular. What they say, for example, an auditor may use a sample of 50 consecutive checks. Is it? Whether checks are signed by the authorized signatory other than picking 50 single checks. What they will do? They will say that it is non-static. They'll say that first 50 checks I will take. That's all. First 20, first middle of the. It's not only first. Okay, you will say that no, I'm not going to do anything. But I will check what? I will check this block. Is it? I will check this block. This block is starting from where? Assume that this start from 175 to 225. Sorry, we have said 20 samples now. 1 minute. Is it? We'll say that it is how much? We are going to say 175 to 195. Is it? If this is there, it is going to be called as a block sample. The last one is it called, we talk about the monetary unit. It is based on what? It is based on value. It is mostly used where it is mostly used in receivables and it is mostly used in payables. Is right? Remember this, okay? Remember this. Random, systematic, is it right? Haphazard. I will if it is space is there, I will write, okay? I will write 1 minute. I will write here, okay? I will make it very, is it? You are talking in terms of what? You are talking in terms of statistical and non-statistical. In statistical, what is there? You have the random. Is it right? You have the random sampling. You have a systematic sampling. Is it right? You have a, apart from that, you will have the monetary unit sampling. Whereas non-statistical, you will have what? You will have haphazard. Is it right? You will have haphazard sampling and you will have a block sampling. Is it clear? I told you now application will start. When the application starts, be very specific. It's not, see, only thing is you should make your known notes. That's very important. Okay, whatever the notes I am giving, see, I will tell with this much, alhamdulillah, I will tell with this much assurance I will give you. The PowerPoint presentation and the notes which is going to be given, writing on me, focus on this, your concepts are going to be very, very clear. Is that there is no doubt that you'll have any doubt on that. Thus, systematically you have to make sure that how it is going to be worked it out. Is it? Now, what they say, they are talking about the things. Is that constant interval? Is it right? Which of the following is a systematic sampling? Is it? Which one of the following is the systematic sampling? Is it? Is it? Which other? Now, see, multiple choice questions, you have to evaluate all the answers. Is it right? You have to evaluate all. A sampling method which is type value weighted. It is when we are talking in terms of value weighted, what is there? It is otherwise called as monetary unit sampling. Is that? It is otherwise called as monetary unit sampling. Is it right? This is not a systematic sampling. Which will have a starting point is determined randomly. Is it right? Which has been determined randomly. Is it? Which has been determined randomly. If you take into consideration what it says, point number 2, is it right? The method, is it? This is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Is it right? What they have mentioned, they say that the first interval having a random start. Is that? The first interval will have a random start. If you take this into consideration, this is called as a systematic sampling. A sampling method in which the auditor selects a block automatically, is it right? If you take into consideration, it is otherwise called as a block sampling. Fine? Is it? Are you clear about this? Is it? Now, what we have done, again, we have done substantive procedures, we have done with respect to second thing, estimates, is it right? We have done substantive procedures, we have done accounting estimates, we have done the sampling. Okay. Is it right? We have done sampling. Slowly I am doing. Okay, fine. Is it right? Don't worry about that. Is it? Revise it. Now see the things. Now almost it's you have to pull. They say in English you have to pull your socks. Means you have to be ready to start. It's almost done. Is it right? If almost done, now only the application part is going to be started. Is it right? All things which you are going to cover here, it will be from section B only. Okay. What is the test of details? Test of details and test of controls. Is it right? Test of details is nothing. What we have done, we are project monetary errors and compare to tolerable misstatements. How you will evaluate. Is that how you will evaluate? Is that project what is the errors and compare tolerable misstatements. Test of what it says. See, they say as per the rules. Is it right? As per the rules, as per the performance materiality. Is it right? As per performance materiality. What is the performance materiality for the sales? Tell me fast. Right or wrong?
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
5%.
5%.
5 to 10.
5 to 10. Is it right? This is the concept how it will work. Is it right? Project monetary errors and whether it is tolerable misstatements are there. Test of details. See, errors will be there. You cannot say that an audit report will have without error. Errors will be there, but the errors should be in tolerable. What is the test of controls? No projection necessary. Decide if error rate is acceptable. You will have the control. Is it right? You are testing the controls. Is it right? You are testing the controls. That's all we are doing. We are not doing anything else. Is that sometimes what will happen? Error rate is acceptable. Is that this is you are testing? We are only testing this. Is that you are only testing this? In testing, there is nothing like that. We are going to make it specific aspect as such. Is that decide if error rate is acceptable. Sometimes what will happen? Your controls will not be effective at all. Controls will be there on paper, but controls will not be there in practice. Got it? Controls will be there on paper, but controls will not be there on practice. If that is the case, definitely there is a difference. Test of details. We are going from front to first to last and last to first. Test of controls, we are only verifying the controls. Is it? What it says, now we have done this, is it? For the test of details, the auditor should project the errors. Is it? Now what we are seeing very, very specifically, is that what we are saying? We are talking in terms of register and we are making in terms of physical terms. Okay? Physical terms. This is one aspect. The second is what? We are taking the physical assets. Is it right? We are taking the physical assets and we are working out with what? We are working out with register. Now, definitely out of 100 samples, is that samples I am talking about? Out of 100 samples, maybe 5 will not comply. Is that 5 will not comply? Okay, fine. Manageable. You will put one query, you will put one remark, and you will say that these are the things. Fine. When the error has been established as an anomaly, anomaly means once in a while. Got it? Once in a while, anomaly. It happens, it will not happen. It may be excluded when projecting a sample errors. Once in a while. You can exclude it. Okay, you can exclude. You can okay, fine. I'm not saying ignore it, exclude it. But what you have to do, but still you have to need to be considered as a overall addition to what? Overall addition to a non-anomalous error. Error is error. If you are testing the details, if there is an error, once in a while error, okay, you can exclude it. But you should not say that I will not include in the report. You have to include in the report. But you have to, from where you have to exclude? You have to exclude from the errors. Okay? You should not say it is not a normal error once in a while. Next time it will not happen. But subsequently you have to include in the report. When a class of transactions balances, is it? When a class of transactions or account balances, is it? When a class means you are talking about receivables, is it right? Has been divided into a different strata, different categories. The error for each stratum is projected separately. I will tell you, I will give an example for this. Is it right? When you are talking in terms of receivables. Fine. Receivables you will categorize. More, is it right? More than 100,000. All will be 1. Okay. Less than 70,000. Is it right? Or equal to how much? Equal to 100,000. You will say less than 30,000 or greater than 30,000 or equal to how much? Equal to 70,000. Means you will get all the things here. Is it right? Next, you will say that anything which is less than 30,000 will come in this category. Understand? The first category is what? The transactions value is the receivables individual accounts are more than 100,000. Second one is the receivable balance is between 770,000 and equal to how much? 10,000, 100,000. Likewise, you will categorize the account balances. This process is called as a straight-up. And you will analyze, you are evaluating every balance in every category in a separate approach. Is it right? In a separate approach. You are auditing. Is that this is only for your understanding? Okay, this is only for your understanding. I have not seen a question on this. Very simple. You are auditing receivables and obtain the information. It is only to make you sure that you should understand the concept. Okay. Total value of population. Population means total 1 million. Okay. Number of items in the population 400. How many samples they have tested? They have tested only 20 samples. Okay. They have tested only 20 transactions. Sample value is how much? Whatever the 20 transactions value is how much? This much. And error in the sample. How much is the error? Means if you are having a value of 200,000, the error will be how much? Error is to the extent of 9,000. Is it right? Assume that the errors are not anomalous. Once in a while, calculate the expected error in the population with respect to the population, and if it is going to be assume that tolerable misstatement was set at 40,000. We can tolerate till what extent? $40,000. Is it right? What actions you have to take? Is it right? What is the formula? Is it right? What is the formula? Error in sample. Here they have not written both. Is that error in sample? Is it right? Divided by sample value times total value of population. This is otherwise called as, is that this is otherwise called as error rate in sample. Error rate in sample is what? Error rate in sample is error in sample divided by sample value. 45,000. See, they have set the tolerable limit is how much? 40,000. But how much you are getting? You are getting more than the tolerable limit. Is it right? You are getting more than the tolerable limit. It doesn't make any sense. Is it? It doesn't make any sense. The projected error is above the tolerable misstatements. Is it right? Means what is the projected error? 45,000 is greater than how much? 40,000. This is the tolerable limit. This is the error. Now what happens? What you are doing? How many samples you have to see? How many? Very clear. Where how many items in the population? Is it right? You have. Is it right? How many are there? You have 400. Is it right? You have 400. The total population is how much? Total population is 400. Is it right? Now how many you have taken? You have taken 20. Is it right? It is greater than what? Greater than 40,000. You should make sure that it should be less than 40,000, tolerable limit. Is a tolerable limit. It should be within. Now what you will do as an auditor, you will increase the sample size. You will increase the sample size to 50. Definitely what will happen? The average will come down. It is only an assumption. If sample size is increasing, if sample size is increased, what will happen? There is an assumption. Maybe the value will be within tolerable limit. That's what it says. Extend the sample tested in the procedure and then reperform the extrapolation. Means again you reperform it the same formula. You will perform additional substantive procedures. Is it right? Mostly the thing is the value should be within the range as such. Till that time, whatever we are doing, we have to make sure that with the help of sampling, we have to execute that procedures. If the further evidence indicates that there is a misstatement, then that exceeds the tolerable misstatement, then the auditor will ask the client to make adjustment to the final. If it is, see what happens, see if it is less than 40,000, fine. No, nothing will happen. Is it right? If less than, but if it is more than 40,000, is it right? Definitely there will be a report that yes, you have to do the corrections. Is that? That is why that is the importance of sampling. Is it? That is the importance of sampling. How the if the error is less, you have a restricted procedure. If the error element is more, you will have a full substantive procedures. We'll complete this and we will stop. Okay, we'll just complete this. Tomorrow we'll start computer aided audit techniques. Okay, tomorrow we'll start that. It's a simple one. Is it? For test of controls, so what test of controls, we don't want anything. Is it right? We are least concerned about this. No explicit projection of errors is necessary. Test of controls is we are testing the controls only. We are not testing the amount. Understand my point? Test of details, we are talking in terms of amount. Test of controls, we are testing the control. Simple error is also projected rate of error for the population. For example, what they say, you are performing a sample of how much? 20 items. Is it right? And found only 2 deviations. Is it right? And found only how many deviations? 2 deviations out of 20. What is the percentage rate of error? The percentage rate of error is 100. The auditor must then decide if this is what happens, as we are talking all the time, it is the judgment of the auditor. 10% is the error. Is it right? If auditor can take it, or if auditor wants, they can ask them for a revision or reviving, or they will carry out for the next stage. You are auditing internal controls relating to authorization of adjustments. Is it? Determine the accuracy and validity of the adjustment. You have obtained the following information. Is it right? And not anomalous. Anomaly means once in a while. Not anomalous means every time. Total number of adjustments made to inventory record during the year. 1050 adjustments. Just imagine how many corrections they have done. They have done 1,050 corrections. Is that nowadays even you are editing, it will be in the logbook. Okay, in the logbook, that's what it says. Is that number of adjustments tested in the sample is how much? 225. Out of 225, is that we came to understanding that 80 transactions have not been authorized. Is it right? How many adjustments are there? 1,500 adjustments made, means you have make corrections. Is it right? Out of this 1,500 corrections, how many you have tested? 225. Out of 225, you came to a conclusion that 18 transactions have not been have any authorization. What is the tolerable limit? Tolerable limit is 13%. Fine. The same thing, is it right? The same thing. What you have to do? You have number of transactions. Is it right? Number of transactions. Is it right? Number of transactions divided by a number of tested samples. Is it right? Number of tested samples times, is it right? How much you will get? If we are getting that, what we'll do? We'll get error rate. That is what it says. Is it right? How much is the error rate? 18%. What is the tolerable limit? Tolerable limit is how much? Tolerable limit is 13%. It is right. The error rate is how much? Error rate is 18%. In the new system, what you will do, and what for the last 3 exams, they have put lot of calculations. Lot of calculations means around 15 to 20 marks calculations they have done. Minimum 15 is there. Is it right? And on that aspect, the projected error is it right? It is not below, it is above. Okay, it is above, it is not below. I don't know how they have made. Is it right? The error rate is how? Error rate is how much? Error rate is 18%. Is it right? Error rate is how much? Error rate is 18%. Tolerable rate is how much? Tolerable rate is 13%. Is it right? Fine, no problem. No further testing is required. However, error resulting from 18 failures of the internal control should be noted on the schedule of the uncorrected misstatements. Is that? This means that the internal control is believed to have operated effectively throughout the period. An auditor can rely on it when assessing the accuracy of the validity of the adjustments. It is a question mark. Is it right? Keep like that only. Okay, we should not. Actually, the error rate is more than the tolerable limit. Is right? Assume that the tolerable rate of deviation was set at an error rate of 13%. Is it right? 13%. 13%. Calculated one is how much? 18%. Okay? Fine. Fine? Are you clear about this? Forget about that. Don't worry. Don't take that. It is the error rate is more than the tolerable limit. Okay? Yes, please.
I think is 18 divided by 225 is 8%, not 18.
I didn't do that. 1 minute. 18 divided by 225. Yeah. Allah. Thank you so much. I didn't notice that. Okay. Fine. Actually, that's good. Thank you so much. It is not 18, is it right? It is 0.08 or 8%. Is it right now?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you so much. Okay? Fine. Fine. We will stop here. Okay? Are you clear about this? See, I am sending you I will stop here. 1 minute.